Surprisingly, this film was actually my first introduction to Enya. But seeing that the movie came out in 1992 and I was 2, you'd think that the Fugees' Ready or Not was actual first introduction to Enya. But I recognize this song. What's up, guys? This is Courtney, one half of the Brothers Deconstruction here, and I'm bringing you my super late review for Stephen King's SleepWalkers. This is another film that I'm reviewing for, spooky season because Halloween is coming up. And this is a film that I remember watching when I was a kid, just like with A Vampire in Brooklyn. And this film is actually kind of scary. Even when rewatching it, there are moments of the film that I really remember when I was a kid as well. Brian Cross, aka Leo from Charmed, he's the starring monster in the film, and the film is about basically some type of weird feline type of vampires looking for a virgin to feast upon so they can continue living. That's the basic plot of the film, right? But there were moments that I remember, like Brian Cross's transformation early on in the film when he tries to attack the final girl in the film. And there are moments with like the cats and the mom bursting into flames and all this different moments of the film I remember from when I was a kid. So when I got the chance to purchase this on Blu-ray, I hopped on it because, again, this is one of the movies of my childhood. Overall, the film is okay. It's not some super great movie. When it came out, it got negative reviews from the critics, but I really wouldn't say that this is a cult classic because I don't think many people remember the film. This is just something that I wanted to review for Halloween season. This movie actually has quite a few decent and actually really good at times jump scares. There aren't false jump scares, right? So when it's the classic jump scare, loud noise, something accompanying that noise, whether how most of the time it's a dog knocking over a pot, or a friend coming up behind another character and scaring them. No, there were times where like with Brian Cross's transformations, there was at one moment he transformed and his human face going into the vampire face, they have a jump scare like crashing sound accompanying it, and it's scary as hell because you are not expecting it. And there are other times when the mom kills 2 police officers and they think that they hear something and they're looking around and they don't see anything, and she pops up behind them, kills them. That's a jump scare, but it's not fake jump scares, it's an actual scare. So the movie, watching this as a kid, it freaked me the fuck out. I remember it fondly now, and even having finished just watching it, it's not a great movie, but it's an okay film. I think there's potential to be had with a story like this. It gets going really, really quickly. It opens up with a nice prologue with Mark Hamill starring as a police sheriff, and they're investigating a house that has a bunch of dead cats hanging from the trees in the front yard. They go inside and they find like the mummified corpse of a little girl with a rose in her hair. That's another moment that I remember from the film as well. And then we kind of cut to, I guess, current day, or a different time frame, but not too distant future. And we're introduced to Brian Cross's character. I forget his character's name, but the mother as well. And we find out pretty early on that, there's some type of monsters, right? They also have a weird incestuous relationship. And it's really, when you know that, it's really weird watching them flirt with each other and kiss each other. And at one point go upstairs and insinuate that they have sex with each other. It's weird as shit, right? I'm guessing that this is like peak early 90s Stephen King as far as weird shit is concerned. There's potential there with the story. There's some type of, and the movie even opens with like a description of what a sleepwalker is, because they're sleepwalkers. Their weakness is cats. like there's potential there. You have this, I'm guessing, ancient race of aliens or monsters or whatever like that, and their weakness is cats. And even the opening credits, you know, we get like different transitions from like Egyptian hieroglyphs and different type of hieroglyphs and things like that. So I think there's potential with the story. Now, going back to the movie, it gets started really, really quickly. Like after we get, you know, that opening prologue and a brief introduction to the family, we find out fairly early on that Brian Krause is targeting Tanya. That's her name. Tanya Richardson, I believe. Again, I can't remember his character's name, but he's targeting Tanya. Again, another moment that I remember, he cuts a T into his arm. He basically starts scheming on her to get her to bring her back home so his mother can feast on her because she needs to feed. She's getting tired, replenish her power, blah, blah, blah. So he starts working on that. She works at the movie theater. He goes to the movie theater. Her dad picks her up. They have class together. He just kind of transferred into class. Now, one of the funny things in the film is that the teacher confronts him while he's like driving his blue Trans Am out on the country road. His teacher confronts him saying, "Your transcripts are fake. There is no City Falls in Ohio. That location is fake. I don't know what you think you're trying to pull." And to me, I didn't understand this decision because it was fucking stupid. You mean to tell me instead of going to any other authority, right? Not, you know, trying to be genre savvy, right? Just common sense. You mean to tell me that you have a student in your class, in your school, in your high school at that, right? That's seemingly impersonating somebody else or whose identity is fake. And you mean to tell me that you're going to approach this person out on a country road and tell them that the jig is up? Type of fucking I don't understand. But yeah, he got his hand ripped off and he was killed not too long after that. A police officer gets involved. That police officer kind of, you know, dies later on. But yeah, so it's that was a decision that wasn't really smart to me. Another decision later on in the film was when, you know, after Brian's character, he basically works on Tanya. They end up going out having a picnic. He tries to seemingly rape her, right? But he's telling her, "I need you to live, I need you to come back with me, blah, 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 this and that." She gets away. That's where this cop gets involved. And, you know, he kills the cop at a later time. I don't think he kills the cop at that moment. Actually, he does. But anyway, but after he works on Tanya, she gets away after that. You know, stabs him in the eye, fucks him up decently enough, and even a cat gets a couple of scratches on him, you know, weakens him pretty badly. They're at home, and they have a police detail. Now, both houses have police detail. Tanya's house, and then the vampire people's house, right? They know how to turn invisible, shapeshift, things like that. The mom gets out of the house. That's when she kills the two cops. She goes and over to Tanya's house, rings the doorbell. Now, the main cop that's in the kitchen, like, eating, he tells the family, "Look, I'll check it out." He looks out the window. He sees a cop car, and it's just like, okay. And I think the dad answers the door, and it's the mother. Why? I would immediately close the door. She has flower roses in her hand. She's like, "Oh, my boy would know that Tanya would love these," and he wanted to make sure that they got to him. And he's just looking at her with utter disgust because how dare you? Your son tried to rape my daughter, and you have the audacity to show your face at my house with flowers? At that, I would have closed the door. And one thing that I never understand in movies, action movies, horror movies, whatever, why don't people use a peephole? I'm pretty sure they had a peephole. Why don't people use it? Looking out the window is not good enough. If I get a knock on my door, I'm looking through the peephole. But anyway, she smacks him in the face with the vase, injures him, throws her mom out the front window, kills the cop in the kitchen with a piece of corn on the cob. Yeah, it was kind of crazy, this film. She ramps it up. But the film moves along pretty quickly. But there is a moment where I can't quite put my hand on it, but there's a section of the film that seems like it drags on a little bit too long. And I think that's the second act at some point. After starting so quickly and getting, you know, straight to the chase, "Oh, I need to go get Tanya right now," it kind of drags a little bit. But after that, she kidnaps her, takes her back to their house, tries to make her dance with her freaky looking son. This is another moment that I remember because of the way that he looks. And the prosthetics were very, very creepy and unsettling. So that's why I remember it so well. But he kind of gets up, they dance and shit, and I guess he starts trying to suck her life force. Cops get involved, cats get involved, mom ends up bursting into flames and dying right then and there. And she's there with the black officer who got killed earlier because he had a cat with him. She's there sitting in the car, in the police car that she tried to get away in, but she ended up crashing. She's sitting there with him saying, I guess it's just us. So that's how the movie ends. Again, this is an okay film with a couple of good scares. There's nothing super, super special. I think there is potential with the story though, and I wouldn't be surprised if this was one of the films that got remade. But Stephen King kind of has his own rights to his properties. So this isn't based on a book that he wrote. This was a movie script that he wrote that he wanted to get made. But I wouldn't be surprised if this got remade, in the future. There's potential there to remake it and kind of flesh out some of that backstory. So I don't think it's on any streaming service. Again, I grew up with it, so of course I had to buy it. I wouldn't say that you need to buy it to view it. I think it's worth a rental. It's entertaining, it's uncomfortable with the relationship, and like I said, there are a couple of good scares in it. So I would say it's at least worth renting $2-3, however much it's gonna cost on whatever the rental services are or whatever like that. So yeah, that's the end of the video. Again, like I said before, be on the lookout for my episode reviews of Goosebumps and Beyond Belief Fact or Fiction. I'm kind of doing this all pretty late, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get to those two videos relatively soon, but I'm going to try and do it. But yeah, as always, guys, I appreciate any and all support, whether it's 1 view or 100. Keep checking out the videos. Check out Bruce's videos as well. I don't know, by the time this video gets uploaded, I don't know if he'll have any more videos uploaded, but he basically has like a streaming series. Not a streaming series, but kind of a new thing that he's been doing the past few weeks where he's played old Power Ranger games and streamed them and just going over whether or not they're good or how terrible they are. So check those videos out as well. Again, I'll catch up with you guys.